Hey there, this is Pam Perry's Picks, and this book couldn't be more on time talking about dreams and visions. We have Kalyn Foy that's going to be coming up talking about her book, and we're going live on Amazon Live as well as on YouTube and on Facebook. So give it a minute here right after our fabulous intro that Bobby Ivory did for me years ago, and I miss him so much. He passed last year, but he did the music. He did the whole thing for me. He was my creative director. He passed after a long illness, but he had such a good life. And so, right after this, we're going to bring up Kalyn Foy, and I believe she's hailing from the Virgin Islands. So, stay tuned right after this.
Hey yo, kick back, relax, let's dive in the page. Pam Perry Picks got the books for your brain. From fiction to non-fiction, all genres insane. We coming through showing love to the lit game. Greatest stories ever told, gotta find your pick. Imagination running wild, ain't nothing slick. Get lost in the pages, let your mind drift. Pam Perry Picks got your brain in the bookshelf vibe. Turning the pages with pride. Pam Perry Picks got the words by your side. Bookshelf vibe. Turning pages with pride. Pam Perry Picks got the words by your side. From the classics to new, we got the books for you. Get your mind right, let the knowledge accrue. Bookshelf vibe, expand, memorize, inspire. Pam Perry Picks keeping readers satisfied. Books up high, knowledge we can't deny. Get your reading on, just book one fly. Click cover image.
There we go. There you go, Kalyn. Are you in the Virgin Islands?
At this moment, I'm actually in Ohio.
You're in Ohio. You're in the States.
But,
Okay. All right. All right. But
but just for a visit with my grandkids, my two grandsons.
okay. All right. Well, congratulations on the book. I love it. I love it. It is probably your labor of love. I think. How long you been working on that workbook? Maybe your whole life. How long you
Thank
been?
you. It really is.
So we got a little bit of a delay, but the subtitle is Plan, Reflect, Take Action with Faith and Purpose. And so one
Yeah.
of the things, I was reading this and I was reading at the beauty shop, and they were like, "Where's that book at? Can you get it on Amazon?" I was like, "Absolutely. I'm going to be interviewing her tonight." So I actually then shared some of your Twisted Storyteller with them, and they were cracking up. You remember when you did this Twisted Storyteller with Satori?
Yes.
And they were like, that is a good story. So I was like, and it's all true. So tell us a little bit about it. And I want to give a little bit of background, even though in the description it talks about who you are, but you're really a visionary leader, coach, and the founder of Sisters Acquiring Financial Empowerment. We call it SAFE, which is over 15 years experience guiding women through goal setting and personal growth. Kalyn empowers others to embrace their purpose and achieve success with intention and faith. Her passion is inspiring transformation and shines through every page of this workbook. It's your time to reflect, reset. I think a lot of people need to do that, and rise. And then basically the workbook is your work of to the world. And I wanna just
Yes.
congratulate them, because anytime anyone puts anything out, I wanna say they probably have been tested before they actually put this book out. So tell us the backstory about the book and why is this so important to you?
Well, okay, the backstory of the book actually goes back to the work that I did with Sisters Acquiring Financial Empowerment, the nonprofit organization that I founded from my own experience as a survivor of domestic violence. So that organization really focused on economic justice or economic empowerment initiatives and really helping survivors of domestic violence. Like, how do you seek work if you're being stalked? How do you rebuild financially after abuse? And so
Yes.
what we did was I really looked at the program and how do we, like, our introduction to the survivors and how to motivate. And so that goal setting, vision board activities, but in a very practical kind of way. Like, girl, what do you want to do? And this might have been the first time in their life that they had the opportunity to shape their future. What do
Mm-hmm.
I want to do? Like, that's a heavy question. And then we
Mm-hmm.
would take actionable small steps to get there. And it might have just been, what are your goal for today? What is your
Yes.
goal for this week? Like, really breaking it down. And
Mm-hmm.
so
So it's not
other
overwhelming.
domestic violence advocates and other nonprofit people were hearing about these sessions and like, hey, I want to come. So I started hosting sessions for advocates and other people. Then when I had the opportunity to move to St. Thomas, which is where I still live, but born and raised in
Mhm.
Detroit, currently live in St. Thomas. So I moved to St. Thomas in 2016, and I really wanted to form community and meet people.
Well, we're gonna stop right
And
here.
so I started,
You moved to St. Thomas because you got married.
yes,
Okay.
which is the
So
story you was talking about.
yeah, this that's a love
I went
story
on
right there.
vacation.
Yes, yes. So tell a little bit
I
about
went on
that. You talk about
vacation. Yes. So what happened was my mom had passed. I was super depressed. My
mm,
best friend was like, "Girl, we're going on a vacation." 10 days later, we were in St. Thomas. That night, I met Paul, who mailed me an engagement ring 2 months later. So we met in January 2014, and we got married in August 2015, and I moved to St. Thomas in August 2016. So that's
oh,
the timeline.
oh
So
my
now
God.
I'm in St. Thomas,
Mhm.
and I knew a lot of people in Detroit. Like, I had community in Detroit. So now I'm at a place where I really didn't have community. I'm like, I need community.
You
So I
started.
was like, I need to find a church. I need to find some friends.
Mm-hmm.
And so I intentionally made the effort, and I started to invite women to my house. People like, you invite people you didn't even know. Invite them to my house for a brunch. I supplied everything, the food, and I would have an activity. And I did this once a month. And the
Wow.
first activity was a vision board session,
And
and
that's
they
what.
loved it. So we
Yeah.
started doing other goal setting activities and, really like, what do we want in our lives kind of thing. And with this particular group, I was also able to express my faith. And so, talking about the Bible and things of that nature.
Mm-hmm.
So
Mm-hmm.
then it started to be an annual event. So we were doing it annually. Then when we went into COVID lockdown, I started
We
doing them
don't.
virtually. And during that time, I was able to invite people from Detroit and from all other places that would come and enjoy. So we would have these events, and people really, say how beneficial they were. So last year, my friends were like, for 2025, we really want to like dig into our goals, and we have all these things that we're trying to do. So I started to look at different templates and PowerPoints and content and presentation and all these different things that I have accumulated over the years of doing these type of things. And
Mm-hmm.
God said, that's your first book.
Wow.
And I said, okay, we can do this. And so
Yes.
I put it
I love.
together, and I added like a lot of my own personal stories.
Mm-hmm.
I wanted it to be faith based. I
Mm-hmm.
felt that's where God had led me to make it faith based. So it had biblical principles, but not stuffy. Like, I even have a quote for Earth, Wind, and Fire. Like, I didn't want it to be stuffy. And, I even added like free gifts for people that bought it. Like, I have a
Yes.
Spotify playlist in there, and
Saw
they can
that
get
in
a
there. That
download of
was,
additional templates.
listen, that was one of the first things I was like, "Ooh, I am always going to conferences, and when I hear the DJ says, 'Can I have your playlist? Can I have your playlist?' I'm like, okay, I love playlists. So that is good. It's called the Playlist of Dreams and Visions. So it's on Spotify. It's a Bitly.
Yeah.
So you have to get the book in order to get the playlist. Okay, that's one of the things I
Yes.
love this, and you give other reader bonuses as well. Those are the kind of things too. A daily
Yes.
self-care planner, a monthly self-care tracker. Those are the kind of things. And it's like it prompts you because sometimes people will get a journal and it's like, okay, they staring at the blank pages and the
Right.
blank pages just staring back at them. So so you got
I've
prompts.
been there, done that.
Me too. It's like, okay, like what am I supposed to put in here? So the one of the things I'm going to ask you real quick, what is your word of the year? Because I kind of went to the middle of the book. I read books so different.
Yes.
So what is your word of the year? And really you said a word of the year is more than the year. It's a focal point, bringing clarity and purpose to the path ahead. You can start anytime, whether it's January, June, or December. This practice can deepen your spiritual connection and faith journey, helping you stay aligned with God's purpose. for your life. It's a single word that captures your intentions, aspirations, and focus. This word will serve as a reminder that matters most and help you stay aligned with your goals, even when life gets chaotic. And then your reflection says, I recently started choosing a word of the year for myself, and it's been transformed how I approach each year. My word serves as a reminder where I want to focus my energy and my faith. You know about that's your word. It says each word has shaped my mindset and helped me move forward with intention and purpose. So, what's your word of the year? What's your word?
Flourishing.
Flourishing.
It's flourishing.
I love
Mm-hmm.
that. I love that. So it's like where you plant it, you flourish. I love that. So you flourish. My word of the year was I usually kind of get it like the last quarter of the year is really leverage.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it has to do with the point where I'm turning 65 and I have a whole lot of stuff. And it's like I don't need to really create any more new stuff. I probably just need to leverage some of the old stuff. Okay. And so I just really just started digging into the word leverage because not only do you leverage things, but you also leverage relationships
Mm-hmm.
and leverage your PR. If you get PR, so say for instance, Caitlin, we're doing this Amazon Live, YouTube Live, and Facebook Live. So then you can leverage this by taking clips of it and putting it in social media. You can leverage it by putting the end of the your email signature. You can leverage it by sending it out to your email list. So you leverage it. It's not just one and done, but it's like leverage it. So I love that part. But the main thing is like it gives you I love the way it's laid out. So one of the things it talks about how to move through setbacks. And so I had someone that told me today that they said, "Oh my God, this says stock market is going crazy." He said, "I've lost so much. I'm going to have to work till I'm like 100 years old." And I'm like, "Oh my God." I'm like, a lot of people are going through setbacks. And so that's why I said when I saw that your book came out, I said, I need you to have a conversation about this book because plan, reflect, and take action with faith and purpose. And you've been doing them in Detroit for many years for your safe for the organization. But it's so easy for you to reflect, girl. I'm just gonna say, you being in Virgin Islands, you can go on the beach and just sit out there and just. We ain't got that. We got Belle Isle, but that's only in the summer, okay?
Trust me, I know about that. I don't even want to admit that I do not go to the beach that often. Like, usually
What?
it's when people come down to visit. Because
Oh my.
it's just like, I made a transition years ago from like, this is vacation to this is home. And I had
Yeah.
always said I didn't want to like take advantage of being in such a beautiful place and just not embrace it. But it's just home now. So I'm not
Okay.
doing like all the touristy kind of things
Oh
anymore.
my
You know,
God.
even though the beach is good for your health, like I would totally recommend if anybody comes down, you come down to the Virgin Islands, no passport required. It's a
Mm-hmm.
US territory. If you're a US
Yes. Yes.
citizen, come down,
Yes.
but definitely get in the water. So like when I think of the beach, I'm like, I need to get in the water because the mineral content, the salt
Yeah.
is so high. It's better than an Epsom salt
Yes,
bath.
yes. Miss Lake said, "Way to go, Kaylin." So it's like, okay, thank
Oh
you, Miss
yay!
Lake, thank you. Yeah,
Thank
and
you.
the other thing that's really good is when you talk about self care in the book. So you really talk about self care, but walking on the beach barefoot is really good because a lot of times we don't walk around
Yes.
barefoot and really grounding that whole thing that people talk about grounding, but just really just making sure that your feet are in the dirt,
Hmm.
walking along the sand and
Yes.
that part. So I'm kind of like warming up to like I'm gonna be coming to Virgin Islands soon. So yeah, that's one of those main things. It's like, okay, I gotta get there because in terms of dreams and visions, that is one of the things. It's almost like you prepared for this phase of your life. And I don't know if you did, but to be in the Virgin Islands, married, happy, and still, I mean, you could have did it maybe 20 years ago, but we didn't have the tools and things like that. That like Zoom or FaceTime, and you know what I'm saying? It would have been a lot different, but you did it.
Exactly.
Yeah, you did it when a time when it was really, really accessible to everyone. Vera
Hmm.
says, she says, love this book, Kalyn. Ah, there you go. There
Oh,
you go. So it's on Amazon. We're streaming on Amazon Live and on YouTube. So definitely make sure that you get the book. It's a workbook where you can do it as a party as like a book club type of thing, or people can do it by themselves. So that's
Yes.
like one of the main things.
Actually, a friend of mine had a prayer pajama party birthday party and gave each of her guests a copy of the book and they went through an activity.
That is a good idea. I have a birthday coming up, and I was planning a
Okay.
pajama party. I was planning a pajama party for my girlfriend. So it was I'm turning like 65, so I wanted to have 6 of my best girlfriends there. And so I said, "Let's do a pajama party." It was more like thinking like we're gonna do the Soul Train line and all that kind of stuff, but we can do a page out of this too as well. So we can have some serious part of it too, where we're just kind of talking and we're dream casting, I guess you would say, we're vision boarding.
Hmm.
And
Yes.
Kimberly Simpkins says, she says, love the book and you are so deserving and blessed. Oh, thank you, Kimberly.
Uh,
Thank you. She is. She really is. This is a thing. And I'd like to just say that I've seen your journey on, from the beginning, like you said, it's been almost 2 decades.
hmm.
And so where you started and where you are now, this has a lot to do with it because it's like the roadmap that you give people, that you share what you
Yes.
do. That is one of the main things. It shares your faith. It shares, and people,
Yes.
I think in this season, people need time to dream. I think because of what's going on
Definitely.
in the United States, people are like, what?
Yes.
Yeah, yeah. I think that the
I mean,
next,
and it'll definitely keep you like holding on, something to hold on to. You have something
Mhm.
that you're trying to work towards. So you don't
Yeah.
feel like I'm everything is out of my control.
Right, right. And it's not. It's not. So this one page here, just one this is without giving away too much of the book. So what it says, the self-reflection questions. So what are my goals? What are my strengths? What do I love about myself? What matters most to me? What am I ashamed of? What do I do for fun? For me, I like to dance, even though I'm not the best dancer, but I will cut a move like MC Hammer. What am I
Hey,
worried about? Where do I feel safest? Who gives me comfort? What is my happiest memory? What keeps me grounded? What am I grateful for? That could be a whole lot of pages all by itself. What are my values?
hmm.
When am I at my best? And what brings me joy? And it gives us time to really just pause and reflect that because if we listen to CNN or that news all day, it will definitely just
Hmm.
drag us down. And so you give us about like how to express your thoughts on joy on this page and on the next. I love the thought that you put through it because each of the chapters build on one another. You have a chapter on resilience, a chapter on joy, and it's it's you could have went through a whole lot of things, but you handpicked what was most important, what worked for you, and what worked for your nonprofit organization as well. So I know the nonprofit, and I keep saying that. So explain a little bit about what it is, because those that don't know what SAFE
Sure.
is, explain. Yeah.
So Sisters Acquiring Financial Empowerment, or SAFE, I founded in 2005. Its 20th anniversary is this year, which is crazy to me. But I started it as a survivor from my own experience. And so my survivorship happened in 1998. And at that time, there wasn't a lot of resources to actually help survivors.
Yeah, Google
So
wasn't even listen.
what
Google
I
wasn't even around.
I thought was important, right? What I thought, because I actually looked in just to date myself in the yellow pages for a program. So I'm a grandma, I admit it. So I really God gave me the vision and the name of the organization, and the goal and the mission was specifically to help survivors of domestic violence to become financially self-sufficient from abuse. So work,
Mhm.
budgeting, buying cars, buying houses. What do I need to financially separate myself from my abuser? And people don't think about financial abuse in this kind of way, but it can affect people on all kind of economic levels. Even younger
Yeah.
people in college, when they get their refund check from college, an abuser might try to control that. To our senior citizens who,
Wow.
Social Security check, they get that, and then their abuser, who they're in an intimate partner relationship with, we'll try to also control that and everything in between. So really helping survivors to navigate. And we had such a successful track record that I got attention from the White House. I was asked to speak all over. I was traveling, doing presentations, and was really blessed to be able to help. And because people were like, okay, because this like during the economic downturn back in 2009.
Mm-hmm,
And so
mm-hmm.
organizations all over were like, okay, if you're helping survivors of domestic violence in Detroit, Michigan, during this economic downturn to get jobs, to get houses, to rebuild their lives, their children were taken away from them and because of the domestic violence situation, and they had to get apartments, they had to show that they had a job. If you're able to help them navigate through these really sticky situations, then we want you to come to Tampa. We want you to come to Arizona and speak and help us to create programs to help the people in our communities. And so
Yes.
I started doing that. And, I was in magazines and if people want to know more about that, they actually would need to look up my maiden name, which is Kalyn
Risk.
Risker, Risker, which is where you would Google me most of that from. Right
Mm-hmm.
now, I was fortunate to work for, while I'm doing SAFE is still going on in Detroit, Michigan. But while I live, since I moved to the Virgin Islands, I worked for the Domestic Violence and Sexual Assault Coalition for like 4.5 years in St. Thomas in the Virgin Islands. And now I work for a national resource center that's located in Washington, D.C. called Ujima as their training and technical assistance manager. So I'm very much still connected in the work. I love providing direct services to survivors, but I also like one thing that I do now is help the advocates to empower them with the resources and things that they might like have a challenge with, helping them to problem solve and connect them to resources so that they can help more survivors. So
Mm-hmm.
I
And
I love doing that work.
yeah, and this is where the book comes in because you can give them this to kind of like jumpstart their dreaming, because sometimes if someone is going through a terrible situation, something that's very horrific, and they feel like life has been beat out of them, this really picks them up. Just if you don't do anything else, pick up this book, you will feel so much better. You feel better just by, like I said, I was reading it at the beauty shop right under the hair dryer, and they were like, what is that book, what is it? And they were like, I need that book. And it's like, yeah, everybody needs to have dreams and visions. And so you will be finding that there will
Thank
be a
you.
spike in the Amazon sales from the beauty shop. Maybe there's something that we could do, like a beauty shop campaign. I don't know, but it worked right here, because in Detroit, we spend some hours
Oh
on beauty.
yes.
We spend some hours.
Yes.
So
It's a
that is,
whole culture.
and really
I
one of
do
the
want to
things.
say that
Mhm.
that I'm donating a portion of all the proceeds to help survivors of domestic
Yes.
violence in Detroit, Michigan.
Yes, that is, I did tell them that. I did tell them that. I said, this is not just a book, but she's actually doing this as a way to promote and give funds, fundraising, that kind of thing. So I'm gonna read a little bit about this because I don't want you to feel teary about it. But it says, your mother, who passed in 2013, dreamed of starting a business called Dreams and Visions. It says, while she did not get a chance to bring her vision to life, her dream stayed with me. It says, naming this workbook, Dreams and Visions, is my way of honoring her memory and ensuring her dream lives on. It reminds me that the dreams of those who came before us can plant seeds of hope and purpose in our own lives. And then it says, this workbook is more than a project, it is a legacy of faith, empowerment, and taking actionable steps to bring visions to life. I read that and I just started crying again. I said, oh my goodness. I said, Kalyn is just make me cry all through the book. I was like, I watched some of your stuff and I was like, she is, but that's just how God is speaking through you. That's how God is speaking through you. And then let me look at the comments over here. I'm sorry. So there was Verna Lynn. Okay, Verna Lynn, Jillian, she gave you some hearts over there as well. And then Kimberly and Miss Lake as well, because they know the work that you do. And it's not surprising that you're getting media, you're written up in magazines. It's one thing to do something because of, I'm going to do it, this is where the money is. Like, people may start a nonprofit and say, I'm going to get government contracts or I'm going to get government grants. Well, you started it out of a mission and a purpose of being God led. And so that's why it's celebrating 20 years. And it's something that you do because you love it. And what is next for you? We got a few minutes left. What do you see next for the book? Is it a I know you we're doing it in book clubs and that kind of thing because that's really good. I like the pajama party deal because I'm gonna get some books and I actually do that as well. I like the beauty shop thing, but that's a whole nother thing that we can kind of talk about that offline. But what's next for Kaylin?
Well, and specifically with this book, I would like to do like women's groups to do some sessions. I want to also host some virtual Zoom sessions to invite people that have the book to work through some
Yeah.
things together. And
Mhm.
then I'm also working on my memoir that I've been working on for over a decade, but I'm working on
Yeah,
that as well.
that is good. Judge Leonia Lloyd, she put out a memoir. It's called Your Honor, Your Honor. It's about her and her twin sister. It took her 2 decades. So don't feel bad. And it's really good. It won a whole lot of awards. So don't rush it. Don't rush it. I could see you, and I'm putting it out there, is doing a retreat in the Virgin Islands
Mm,
with this
yes.
with this book, okay? So we could talk about that because that will be the thing. I mean, the Virgin Islands is just like one of the best places. I love anything in the Caribbean. That's like people like, so I
Yeah.
like to go to vacation in, Italy, France. I was like, no, Caribbean. I don't know. I just feel called to that area. I just feel, that's where I know a lot of our ancestors are. So anyway, yeah, let's hey, Miss Lake, Vera, Kimberly, let's get her to do a retreat and then we'll all come there, right?
Yes.
That's the thing that I
I
want. Like,
love it.
let's go a Dream and Visions retreat.
I received that.
Yeah,
Yes.
that's really the thing because then you can have different women's groups from different churches come to that.
Mm-hmm.
So say if it's Loretta Mormon at CTAP, I just, she has
Mm-hmm.
she's going to be the pastor now. So maybe her women's group will come or another women's group from another group or just like I'm in a group called Black Door Society. And we help empower women financially as well in business. So that would be something that if you put it together, we could put in our money and we'll come. Okay. And everybody will go through this dreams and vision book. And
That would be
Vera said,
amazing.
yes, yes. So we already got three people there. Okay. So we did already said three. So we already going there. So if people go to Kalyn Foy, it looks like Fahie, but it's Foy.com. What can they find there? Are there some things that they can sign up to stay connected with you when you start sending out these notices about that
Yes.
retreat?
Yes. So you sign up for the mailing list and you will get a free rest and relaxation guide. And
Oh,
we have other downloads, like a goal setting guide with more templates, some different companion products to go along with the workbook. So we have other things as well as you could also get a digital download version. So if you're an iPad or tablet girly and you like digital products, you could get the digital version of the workbook as well.
good. And they can also
As well as
contact you to
upcoming events
speak.
soon.
Yes, yes,
Yes,
yes. And they can actually have you before you do the retreat, have you come in and speak with them as well. So they can contact
most
you to speak
definitely.
it. Yes, yes, yes. Well, I love this. I love you. Thank you so much for doing this. Again, the book is called Dreams and Visions. It's a workbook by Kalyn Foy, kalynfoy.com. You can actually go there, but make sure that you do get it and buy two. Buy one for your bestie. Everybody got a bestie, so buy one for your bestie. And that will be a good thing. Or if you're part of a book club, make sure that you have it for your book club. This would be a really good project for people to have for their book club as well. So thank you so much for joining us today. And you are out
Thank
here
you
on
for having
stateside.
me.
So I will talk to you later. Okay.
All right. Thank you all.
All
Bye
right. All right.
bye.
God bless. That is Kalyn. So Kalyn Fahie, Fahie. Go there, sign up to make sure that you get on her list so that you can stay in contact with her. This is a Pam Perry's pick for the month of April. If there's nothing else, make sure you get this book. Get two of them, okay? So make sure that you go to Amazon.com and get the book. So with that, I'm Pam Perry and I'm out. You can reach me at PamPerryPR.com. Alrighty, PamPerryPR.com. God bless. Take care. Bye bye.